Hey, what's up, guys? Sean here with BlueRidgeSilverhound. We're jumping into the Pocket Change Market Report for September 7th, 2024. This is the weekend edition. Hope everyone's doing well and you guys are ready to go out there and picking some cherries of your own because boy, oh boy, there's a lot to look out for out there in the wild. Not only can you find a lot of these coins here today, simply by searching through your change, but also buying those bank rolls from the bank, of course, where a lot of these can be found. And hey, good news. There's a lot of people that are doing this with great success. But also, let's not forget that some of the pieces you're going to see here today can be cherry picked at your local coin shop or show. So, however you decide to do this to make it all work out, whether you're adding some really neat, awesome pieces to your personal collection, or you're simply doing this as kind of a supplemental income type opportunity, you know, there's going to be a couple different ways that you can approach this and really bang out the big wins. All right, so we're going to be taking a look at everything that's sold here in about the last, I would say, 24 hours from eBay. Again, I can't stress this enough. We only look at raw, ungraded pieces. Keep that money in your pocket. You don't have to grade any of these. They certainly speak for themselves. All right, real quick, we have a little bit of a calendar of events notification for you guys, courtesy of Whatnot. I sell on this platform too, in addition to eBay. Now's the time to jump on one of the biggest, strongest, growing platforms for live auctions today. Whatnot is not only looking for new buyers to step up and sign up, but also for new sellers to come on board as well. If you're looking to do either, I have my referral links down below in the description box. If you're a new buyer, if you've never done this before, you will save $15 if you sign up under me on your first item. That's a pretty nice little score right there for just for joining up. So we do have a show on Friday. It's what I call the 200-year U.S. type signature sale. So it's going to highlight a lot of U.S. type pieces across the span of 2 centuries. Some of the best stuff that's ever been released by our respective mints here in the U.S. We're just gonna have a really nice show covering a lot of years and ground to cover. But I also wanted to let you guys know the event that we did back in May has made a return for the month of September. We call it the September Showdown event. Is active. So every lot that you purchase on every show will equal 1 point that goes into the end of month drawing. As you guys remember, back in the month of May, we gave away 3 Carson City GSA dollars in their original packaging, their original boxes. So, yeah, we're gonna do it up big again. It's gonna be a lot of fun and get rewarded for buying from your boy Blue. So I look forward to doing that. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and yeah, can't wait to share in the wealth with you guys here on the very last day of the month. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Let's see what we have here. We have 25 total lots to discuss. This, by all means, does not represent all of the biggest coins that have sold here in the last 24 hours. We simply just don't have the time to cover that. But hey, let's go ahead and talk about a few pieces you guys may not know about. All right, so this rough boy right here is an 1864 Indian head set. All right, it's a nice early date, but they are a little bit affordable in lower grades. This one has 99 problems, but the one thing that speaks out is the strike through right on the obverse. It's right above the headdress of Lady Liberty right there. So outside of that, this thing has seen a very hard life. I don't really know what else to say other than it really doesn't matter what the coin looks like. There is always going to be a buyer for every single coin as long as you could correctly attribute a die variety or diagnose an error in your listing and you're truthful with what you're selling, then I don't see why you can't make a sale. Like this one right here, it's a nice earlier date, but again, we can't overlook the glaring things about it. that doesn't necessarily make it eye appealing, but hey, $12 sale here on this one. Probably a coin that can be picked up for under $1. It's that cheap. This represents one instance where you can make a few dollars. And at first glance, it doesn't seem like it's like that big of a deal. But keep in mind, the more of the cheaper stuff that you sell, it's all going to make that same impact. All the money's going to go into the same bucket. And then you could, do whatever you want with it. You could build and grow your business. You could go and pay off bills. You could do whatever you want. And it's kind of a great way of supplementing your daily 9 to 5, I guess. Another great example here. We do have a few minor pieces that you guys need to know about. They're not nothing, that's for sure. And, it's an imperfect coin too. It's got a few rim bumps as evidenced on the reverse there. It's got a little bit of a hit right there on Lincoln's jacket, just to the right of Liberty. But, all in all, what really matters most is that the last digit of the date is missing, okay? And this is all attributed to a filled die issue. So the number on the working die was compacted with a lot of grease, and then because of that, it's not going to strike up that particular component on the coin. So it's quite minor. We see this all the time throughout various coins going on for many years and decades. But something like this, there is some interest. This one sold for $5.99. So again, it's not nothing. Probably profit about $3 here after it's all said and done. And again, it's another way that you can distinguish, between something that looks quite minor, even though it has its warts, to something that, that is a lot more major. That'll get you a lot more money. But we certainly can't step over pieces like this. The next one that we have here, man, I remember this thing. I've never personally found one of these, as many rolls of 2016 Jefferson Nickels as I've gone through, but we cannot forget that this coin did make a huge, heavy impact back when it was released, 8 years ago. So there's a few things going on here. This is a dual error. You have that really phenomenal looking strike through on the obverse. That thing is a cavernous looking thing happening on the front of the coin. It's really hard to miss. But when you flip the coin over, it's also got a counterclockwise die rotation error. This thing is rotated 90 degrees off of where it should be. And that is amazing. The die rotation by itself sells in spades. It sells for a lot of money. But when you combine it with this other mint error on the obverse, which is what they affectionately refer to as a field-restricted strike-through by its technical name, I'm telling you guys, this is a true banger. Like, this particular coin, even though it's circulated quite a bit, still managed to sell for $44.36. Can you believe that? A $40+ coin that's barely 8 years old ended up making a pretty nice impact on this week's market. Pretty nice one here, man. This thing is awesome. Again, it's a 2000 Lincoln Memorial set, a really nice, large, centered, broad-struck coin. So the collar, which keeps the coin in place during the process of the strike, was disengaged or malfunctioned at the time. So there was no collar to keep the coin in place. Therefore, a lot of the metal flow continues to go outwards and stretches beyond the actual diameter of what a Lincoln cent should be. And then you get this monster right here. Now, it is a copper-plated zinkin. So it's got a zinc core, a very, very thin copper plating. You can see a lot of the stretching and the splitting of that plating is very evident on this one. So we have a coin that sold for $30. That's a really nice price tag, considering that there are quite a few broad-struck 2000 Lincolns out there in the marketplace. So yeah, this is one of the best ones I've seen in quite some time. Next one that we have here, again, this is more of a lesson of, look out for something like this because they are quite common on specific series of US coins. Buffalo nickels were atrocious for annealing, for just overall bad plancha quality. And this is again another example of that. This is a 1920 Philadelphia Buffalo nickel. On its face, very common date, especially in low grades. But check out all the stuff happening there on the obverse. The Indian has never looked worse than right now. So the impurities in the alloy mix allowed for these coins to flake off, metal off of there. They call that a lamination. And that's exactly what we have here. What's also kind of a nice secondary thing on this one is the die clashing. You can see that on the reverse there. On E pluribus unum, which is a die clash of the Indian's neck on that reverse die. So this one right here sold for $12.98, and routinely I see a lot of these for in the bargain bin for like 50 cents. And you see them normally on older dates of Buffalo nickels, generally anything pre-1930, for example. So if you could pick one up cheap, just keep in mind, you can like make a $10 bill every time you sell these. And again, they are quite common, folks. They are not at all rare. Same one here. This is a 1917. Although condition-wise, it's a much better looking coin. But yeah, another defective planchet coin here. You can see that crack right across the middle of the reverse. That is actually a lamination. So that's actually peeled up metal that hasn't progressed further as far as a detachment. But it looks like a die crack, and sometimes this will fool some people. Just get a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe up close so that way you can see the difference. So this one right here sold for $25.45. Again, even though it's a 1917, you have a full readable date, you have a partial horn, which indicates it's like maybe a VF25. It's a coin that you could grab for a few bucks, okay? And then you could turn around and sell it for $25 and then really do a number, toward that bottom line by selling things like this. They're easy to obtain, they're quite common, and, they can be had at a very low cost. But on the secondary market, they have a very respectable sale price range. So, keep that in mind. Again, these are rife all over like coin shops and shows. I love cherry picking these for myself. And another one here, you wouldn't think that laminations would look that obvious on silver coins, but here is a great one. We've seen a few lamination type errors on older 90% silver coins. And this is a great example of that. 1958 Franklin half dollar. You could see the flaked up metal on the front of the coin right there. Going across his head, his dome piece again is looking very much like a croissant at this point, and it goes into the fields right behind his head. That looks to be a little detachment. It looks like a boot-shaped detachment on the lamination. Not something that we customarily see, but again, I have found similar pieces in scrap 90% silver bins, so, look out for these. They're worth a lot more than just the melt value of the coin. Like this one right here is about $10 melt. However, it ended up selling on eBay for $36.45. Again, another big opportunity to really hit that bottom line really well with some profit dollars. All right, well, we got the 2023 Lincoln Shield cent. This coin is on the list, and not for the reason that you think, okay? Everybody's been sweating the extra V variant of this coin. That's not why this one's here. This is yet again kind of like a secondary thing to look out for on this coin. Now, looking at these two photos, you can't really, make out any one particular thing, but when we look up close here, this is actually a pretty cool little die crack that kind of forms in a little bit of a die chip from the rim into Lincoln's jacket. So if we went back to this picture, you can kind of see it right here. All right, it's very subtle, and that's why sometimes taking pictures like this, as good as it is to take pictures of both the obverse and reverse full, sometimes that won't get you the close-ups or the results you need, and that's why this image exists. This seller did a phenomenal job. Now, again, you're not going to get rich off selling these, but let's say if you did go through rolls of these, looking for that extra V, which still sells for about, 15, 20 bucks a coin, be on the lookout for these. You'll come across one, and if we're talking like full BU rolls, you probably end up finding a lot more of them as they're all struck from like a couple different dies. So this one here sold for $6. All right, so for everyone that you see and sell, it's $6. You'll probably profit about $4 after fees and shipping. I mean, this is an easy coin to sell here. Again, take good pictures and you'll do okay. And another thing that is beginning to kind of wake up, and I knew it would. This is something that wasn't going to stay, quiet for very much longer, and that's what they call improper alloy mix coins. Traditionally, we see them on Lincoln cents, but of course, you could see them on other different types of coins like nickels and things like that. But the little negligible amount of tin or zinc that they add to the copper mixture for the coin, or for the planchet rather, or the blanks or the strips or whatever, didn't quite mix very well. So when we have a final product, a coin struck, you get something that looks like this, which looks like wood graining. And it's very attractive, it's very artistic, and the collectability is off the charts on these. So this is a 1920 Philadelphia Lincoln wheat cent. Usually we see these on much earlier dates, but you could see them as later as like maybe 1955. I have a few from 55 that look really great. But this is something that's beginning to wake up. Used to be 10 years ago, you could probably sell these for $1 or $2. They're not quite like that anymore. This is even a more common date. This one sold for $19.95. So, as kind of a little bit of a public service announcement, if you come across these going through bulk Lincolns of any sort, pull these out. They are guaranteed cash today, and oftentimes, that average is somewhere in like 15, 20 bucks for these. They're not as cheap anymore, and people are looking to assemble full date sets, and that's kind of like one of the cool parts about this, is that is something that's really driving the value in the market for these wood grainers. And this one here, this one will fool a lot of people. Okay, the moment that someone takes a look at this and they notice that, oh, the back looks good, you see a little thing above the, Monticello, however you pronounce it. And then you look at the obverse, it's like, oh yeah, this thing is road rash. This thing was run over in a parking lot. But to an astute collector that knows their mint errors, they'll look at this, they're like, oh no, that's not the case. I mean, look how clean the rims are. If this thing was truly road rashed, the rims would be all chewed up as well. This one is not. So when you look up close to what appears to be a deteriorated die, it's not that. It's actually hubbed in debris on that working die. So, or not hubbed in. It's just debris. It's a struck through coin, probably with some grease and dirt and various other things like that was on that working die of the obverse that created this really neat looking piece. So again, you can see this anywhere, even on newer coins. I've come across things very similar to this. So this one right here sold for $27.45. Again, that's a pretty nice, impactful amount of money, considering that the coin probably was purchased for under $1. So that anytime you could achieve 20 plus X in returns is a good day. All right, well, there were a few of these that sold. I will talk about both of the bigger dates. 1982p candy half dollar. Okay, attention, roll hunters. You're going to have to pay attention here. This one is missing the initials of Mr. Frank Gasparo on the reverse. So the FG initials are missing. This is actually a die variety. This is the FS901 in the Cherry Picker's Guide. Again, another good one to be on the lookout for. It's worth way more than silver, like this example here. the seller had mentioned it's AU details, so there might have been, you know, like a few marks on there to kind of give it a lower grade. How about $20.51? And that's off of 6 bids on this example here. What a great coin, too, to be on the lookout for. Which, you know, melt value for a 90% Kennedy is roughly $10. So this one coin that generally gets overlooked time and time again by the people that only care about the silver, you know, they're stepping over a $20 bill to pick up that dollar bill. It just doesn't make any sense. Always be on the lookout for these particular coins. We do have a couple pieces of currency. Very, very impressive stuff this week. Here's a 1988 $1 bill. Okay, nice looking front on there. You know, nothing really to speak of that draws your attention. But boy, when we flip this thing over, man, misaligned sheet, not a miscut because the front is perfectly centered, but the back misaligned. A good deal there. I mean, that's a no-brainer. This one right here is sold for $156.29 off of 20 bids. Another impressive sale, as misaligned print notes are beginning to, you know, they're just continually making waves. They're not beginning, they are making waves each and every single week. Again, the collectability is to the next level on these. Here's a 1944 Lincoln Wheat Cent with a what looks to be either a detached lamination or a struck through, like maybe a lamination from another coin. They are very close here on this one, and a very nice one. Even though the coin is very well circulated, this is one that sticks out like a sore thumb. So again, a coin that you could obtain for probably 5 cents, you know, with very little looking. Ended up selling for $10.18 with 4 total bids. All right, again, that lesson goes, you got to sell the cheap with the much more expensive coins because they all do add up. And another neat one here, I haven't seen one of these that look quite this light in a while. It's a 1977 A $1 bill, and it's a nice, crispy, uncirculated example. It looks like an ink smear, but more probably a solvent smear. So some of the solvents had mixed in with a little bit of the ink and created more of a wash effect, which is what we have here. So again, another impressive note, one that will fool a lot of other people into thinking that it is not a true, genuine paper money error. When we look at the back, it's completely normal here on this side. So this one sold for $99.95. Very clean example too. And again, it's a note that you don't need to grade. It's not going to impact the value of it that much. So yeah, keep on going, friends. And here's our other, man, this thing is nice. Missing FG. Again, this is another Cherry Picker's Guide date. That's 72D. This is the more rarer of the 2 dates that is recognized in the Cherry Picker's Guide. And again, yeah, this one is missing the FG initials on the reverse, and it's got a beautiful tone to it as well, especially on the reverse. It looks like the sun is rising in the morning. You're about ready to have your cup of coffee, but, you know, just you're going to enjoy your day every time you look at this coin. It is that nice. So there you go, a little close up, showing no evidence of either the F or G on there. And this is all due, by the way, to some overzealous polishing of the die that will eliminate the initials on there. And it's just like it's in the right spot for that too. So this one here, because it is recognized as the rarer of the 2 dates, the 82p is quite common. This one, folks, sold for $66.76 with 4 total bids. Again, another strong performer here this week, and I would expect it, as this one has all the personality in the world to sell for that kind of money. Oh boy, another neat one. And guess what? It's neither the low leaf or a high leaf. It's just a mid-error Wisconsin quarter. So first of all, it is a little bit broad struck from what I could see. They said off-center, but I'm probably leaning more toward broad struck because you do have a defined edge or rim around the bottom of the quarter if you're looking at the obverse. but it's also got a straight clip as well. Goodness gracious, this thing is a magnificent dual error, and errors in general on state and the national park holders are insanely desirable right now because people are looking. And it's not like that. This is something that's more common, especially when you get into the ATB series, the America the Beautiful National Park Hoarders. But boy, this one is really cool. And I think the Wisconsin quarter is one of the coolest designs, bar none. And this one has all the cake. So I wasn't the least bit surprised when this one sold for $170.55. I probably would have paid that amount of money too. This was done as a buy now type listing, so add it to cart, check out, enjoy it. Not really a mid-error. It's just a really nice 1830, what they call matron head large set. This one just has some nice die cracks that's going through all the stars. That's actually quite common for this particular coin. Especially the earlier that you go, like 1818, 1819, those dates have a lot of those die cracks. But overall, just a really, really pleasing type coin. Looks to be like a VF30-ish kind of grade on this one. How about $109.49 with 15 bits? And this seller has many more of these early coppers that they're selling, and they're all doing quite well. Came across this one. Boy, is it clean. 1974 Philadelphia Washington quarter. It's off center by about 10%. Beautiful piece here, guys. This one sold for 25 bucks. Again, this is going to be a replacement for for anyone that currently has a 74 off center that doesn't look quite this nice. And probably one of the neatest paper money errors so far this week has to be this fold over $5 silver certificate. It's a 34A. It seems that the older that you go with these type of errors, just the more amazing they are. And, this one here is really cool. So it's a corner of the sheet that had folded over and then printed over. When we look at the back, you can see the print over there on that one. This one right here sold for $223.99 with 24 total bids. Again, I'm not the least bit surprised. And, guess what? It's not graded. The inclination would be, we got to grade these because this is like just, off the wall type of paper money error, and they all have to be in a graded holder. That simply is not the case. If this thing was in a PMG or PCGS banknote holder, it probably would have sold for the same amount of money. So keep that in mind. Another one here, 1995 $5 bill with a gutter fold there on the left side. So again, there was a wrinkle in the sheet. We've talked about these before. Another clean example. A great looking piece. It's not the most impressive gutter fold, but it is one nonetheless. When we look at the back, you can see the gutter there on the green ink as well, which means that wrinkle never got stretched out at any point. $59.95 with 22 bids on this one. Again, very nice. Hey, what's that red square there? Well, you're going to know after this. This is a 1935 F $1 silver certificate. It's a very crispy looking example too. Slight misalignment in the print. And a B&P employee did notice that. So what they did was they put they're either going to mark it two ways. They're either going to do a red crayon mark as a reject, so that way someone further down the line can pull this out and replace it with a star note or whatever. But that is another rejection mark. It's like a little red acetate sticker that they put right on the note to signal someone else further down the line to pull it out. I haven't seen a rejection tag like this in quite a while. They are out there if you need it. And I find these to be a lot more impressive. So if you do come across one of these, you know exactly what it is. Again, it's something as minor as this misalignment here. See that top right serial number, how it kind of like overlaps America a little bit? That is minor. Usually these things get passed through. There's a reverse there. The godless design of the reverse of a silver certificate is very noticeable. So this one here sold for $299.95. Quick little buy it now hit. I could always use another one of these in my collection. I love the red square rejection mark on these. Yeah, I mean, whoever bought this one ended up getting a really good deal, and it's mostly because of that coin right in the middle. It's actually a really decent looking piece. This is a 3 coin set from 98 to 2000 wide AM reverses. Now, as we know, the middle coin, the 99, is the rarest of the three. That is just a really nice piece on the secondary market, especially when they look good. When they're all worn and they look bad, they're not as desirable. So normally a coin of that condition right there sells easily for 100 to 150 bucks plus. But we have all 3 coins here. The 98, I would say, the most impressive out of the three. If you're looking for each and every single one of these in one shot, look no further. This was the one to get. And all 3 coins, get this, $73 with 2 bids. What in the world? I mean, the last three coin sets sold for $299, and they looked as good as these three here. So someone got a steal of a deal. The 2 outside coins by themselves in that condition probably sells for between 10 15 bucks a piece. Does that mean that the coin in the middle is like a $40 coin? My goodness. This could end up being a really good flip at the end of the day. 1981, very well worn, very beat up Washington quarter. Beat up in a sense that someone that looks at the front of this coin, they're going to figure, man, that thing got ran through. But in reality, this is just a missing clad layer. You know, this is what we call a clamshell lamination. Some of it had torn off. There's what it looks like on the edge. Great job, by the way, with the arrows. You know, helping anyone that needs that extra kind of reassurance of what they're looking at on the coin. So this one here sold for $40.45. Again, if you keep the lamination on there, don't peel it away. It's going to be considered a legit coin. You know, because if you do peel it away, it's gonna be easy to notice, and it will be considered damage at that point. Yeah, someone crack this one in half, please. 1981 $1 bill with just a bevy of different gutter folds. You have some on the top left and right down the middle. You know, you have 2 Washingtons on this one, and then it comes down and splits into 2. I mean, this thing is madcap. Yeah, it gives the note a whole new dynamic here, guys, and you know, gutter folds by themselves, if there's just one on there, it's not that impressive. But when you have multiples and it's all accordioned out like this one is, that's where it really hits home. So this one here sold for $199.95. That's usually toward the top end of the range for amazing gutter folds, because again, they're like lower end on the totem pole for error type. But man, this thing is really awesome. And the final coin, speaking of awesome, for those of you that know, you just know, 34S in AU grades and higher are ridiculously expensive coins. How do I know? Because I've owned a few of these graded in like AU 55. I've had a Mint State 61. That's like a $2,500 coin today. So coins and cards again with another banger, and he put on here, it's a 34S over S, like an RPM. There is a close-up of the mint mark. I'm not completely sold on the RPM aspect of it, but this is just a really awesome looking piece. Probably in that AU 55, 58 range right there. You know, again, ungraded. It's just, this thing is a gauntlet. It's one of the most expensive piece dollars that you will ever spend. If you're looking to put together a whole set and you want the coins to look good, you're going to have to pay up for a 34S. So here's a close-up of that mint mark. And, you know, I'm really not, again, sold on the RPM aspect of this one. It could be. It could look differently in hand than it does on these photos. But pretty big sale, $898.88 with 17 bids. Wow, my goodness! What a beast of a coin! It's one of my favorite coins to collect into, and the 34S you know, a lot of people don't think, but it's a stopper. It's not the 28 or the 21, it's the 34S, especially when you want it to look a little bit lustrous and you can't quite afford mid-state 65s. So, yeah, great way to end things off here on the PCMR. That's going to go ahead and wrap things up today. Information provided in this video is for educational use only. Remember that, not financial advice. Please collect and or grade your coins responsibly. That's going to go ahead and do it for this one, folks. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound, and I hope you guys got a little bit of incentive to go out there and do some hunting of your own, because it is fun. And we are heading into the holiday season where it really matters most. A lot of people are going to be cashing in those piggy banks to inject the world with more new raw material that we haven't seen. All right, now's your chance. I will see you guys. Happy hunting and keep on collecting.